he gets more involved in, I guess, well, not really involved with the government, but he becomes more noticeable to the government.
Yeah.
Because they start to do this thing where they're trying to censor music in a way. They're trying to, what was it called? The Parental Music Resource Center or something like that. It was Tipper Gore and a bunch of other senators and senators' wives and shit that they were trying to censor music. They were trying to put these warning labels on music.
Correct.
And Frank goes in front of Congress to tell them why they're all a bunch of idiots and why that's a bad idea. And he basically was right, because when you listen to what he was saying, he was like, all this is going to do is make people want to hear this stuff more.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what happened.
That is exactly what happened. First of all, it kind of goes into like, well, what are you doing with music that you feel like it's going to influence people so badly? There was a woman talking to him saying like, oh, you know, they'll hear something about sex and want to go commit an act of violence. And he was just like, what is going on in that kid's home? Like, sex is normal. It's natural, you know. Curses. He looked up the four most used words in American like English, and it's like they're all curse words. But you can't hear them like on the radio or on the TV, and he's just like, that's just crazy. So I mean, like, what do you want music to do? Obviously, you're admitting now that it's influential and it can influence like listeners and stuff like that. So it's only what you put out that you want to influence the people. Right. That's kind of fucked up.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So he testified in Congress that this was a bad idea. And it's funny because I grew up in the shadow of that. That had already happened when I was listening to music. But we talked about this before. When I was growing up, if I went to the store, and this was, when CDs were a thing, and there was a CD that didn't have that label, I was like, this shit must be lame. Yeah,
true.
Like, I don't want this. And especially if there was two versions, right? Yeah. There would be the clean version and the explicit version. You want to get the explicit version.
You always want the uncut. Yeah, always.
Right? I mean, I'm definitely not the only kid that thought that.
No.
So Frank was totally right about that. And again, completely against the system. Yeah. So just all these little things add up to a lot of people not liking Frank again, including, now government officials.
Yeah. The biggest gang on the planet.
Right.
The USG.
The USG coming at you. And it's really interesting, though, because he continues to be a hero to a lot of people in Europe. Yeah. He becomes like a symbol of free speech. Yeah. And there's certain places in like Eastern Europe that was under like the Soviet Union control that he really is like a beacon of freedom for them.
Yeah, at this time it was was it Prague or it was Czechoslovakia?
Yes, Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. Yeah, which is now two different countries, but back then it was one country. And Frank, this is an example of your star just got too big, Frank. You just went too far, he gets into cahoots with the president. Yeah. Right? And he's just like, look, if you need anything done in America, you come see me. Just
come talk to me. And the president made him an official representative of the government of Czechoslovakia. Yes. Right? Which is insane. Yeah. And he goes over there, he visits, he meets with, all these government officials, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I think there's statues of him over there to this day.
So amazing.
And then who was it? It was Dan Quayle was the vice president, right?
Yeah, at the time.
At the time, he's over there, and the president of Czechoslovakia says, oh yeah, Dan Quayle's coming over, and Frank's kind of like, that sucks. Yeah. Or like, he says some shit about Dan Quayle, and it gets back to him, and they already didn't like him because of the whole congressional thing, where I think one of the people on the panel was like Dan Quayle's wife, or some shit like that. So they already didn't like Frank Zappa. Yeah. And then they heard that Zappa was talking shit about him. Yeah. And Dan Quayle, this is the most insane part of this story. Dan Quayle says to the president of Czechoslovakia, hey, you could do business with the United States government. Yeah. Or you could do business with Frank Zappa.
Yeah, basically that's how it went down. I think it was a congressman too who rerouted his whole trip just to come to like Moscow and tell them that too. Like, okay, all right, well, like what's going on here? You know, do you want us or do you want Frank Zappa? Because he doesn't have his own country.
Yeah. He's gonna start the country of Zappistan. That would have been, if he lived a little longer, that would have been the next phase in his life. But yeah, that's just insane that you get to that level, that like governments are literally opposed to you like that.
Yeah, and that was like 88, so that's like around, you know, when they had to sneak in the suits and you know,
I didn't really think about that.
Organize the conspiracy against him and get in private rooms. It's like, how can we get this guy? What does he do? What drugs does he do? He doesn't do any drugs. No fucking drugs. Oh shit.
I thought he was a musician.
What is he? Somebody's addicted to something. He's got to be to something. It's the sex. The sex. All right, let's get some girls in there. Let's get some real hot girls.
But no, it's just, I just always thought that was insane. It's just like, how fucking petty are you? You know what? Like, seriously, like,
do you live here?
I know. It's just like this is just such a clear example of just like, you're really gonna let this fucking musician like change your policies?
Well, I mean, that's how easy it is to sway people. All they need is like a beacon of like a little bit of freedom, you know, because you know, we're in a free country, but there are a lot of things that people just don't agree with, and you know, you got to regulate those freedom fighters. You know, what kind of freedom you're talking about? Freedom is a variable.
You're talking about our kind of freedom,
that's
or your
right.
kind of freedom?
That's
right. So obviously, if you're the Czech Republic, you don't really have a choice in that situation.
No, you need the arms, you need the soy, you need the wheat.
Yeah, so you gotta choose the U.S. government over Frank Zappa. But that's what I'm saying. It's just even saying that, it just sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah,
you have to choose the government or Frank Zappa. It's
yeah.
But again, it kind of proves what the kind of level that Frank was at.